Welcome back, friends. I'm Kim from This Old Baker, and today we're talking about something that comes up a lot online lately, especially with rising grocery prices, uncertain times, and honestly, just life feeling a little unpredictable. What is the difference between being prepared and hoarding? Because those two things are not the same, even though people love to throw those words around interchangeably. And I think a lot of good, hardworking people, especially women keeping households running, feel embarrassed about wanting to be prepared. So let's talk about it honestly, without fear, without shame, and without $25 tactical flashlights strapped to our foreheads. Being prepared means you intentionally keep what you realistically use so your family is more secure during hard times, emergencies, job loss, storms, illness, tight budgets, or even just a chaotic week. Preparedness says, I have enough. Hoarding says, I can never have enough. That's the difference right there. Mindset. Preparedness is organized. Hoarding is usually uncontrolled. Preparedness creates peace. Hoarding creates stress. Preparedness is functional. Hoarding interferes with daily living. And here's the thing people forget. For generations, our grandparents lived prepared lives naturally. They had pantry shelves, extra flour, home canned vegetables, a freezer full of meat, medicine cabinets stocked before they needed something. Nobody called Grandma a hoarder because she had 12 jars of green beans and 3 bags of flour. That was wisdom, not pathology. Now, obviously, true hoarding disorder is a real mental health condition. And I want to say that respectfully. That's different from someone keeping practical household supplies. Real hoarding often involves severe emotional distress, unsafe living conditions, inability to discard items regardless of value, blocked exits, unsanitary conditions, things that deeply impact quality of life. That is not the same thing as having a stocked pantry or backup toiletries. I think social media sometimes confuses the issue too. You'll see videos where someone has 50 pounds of rice, and immediately the comments start. Why do you need that much? That's excessive. That's weird. Meanwhile, those same people panic buy bread and bottled water every time a hurricane sneezes 3 states away. Prepared people are usually calm during emergencies because they already handled it ahead of time. Hoarding often comes from anxiety spiraling out of control. Preparedness says, I bought this intentionally because we use it. Hoarding says, I grabbed this because I'm afraid. And honestly, I think a lot of women have been conditioned to feel guilty for abundance, especially if you grew up struggling. Sometimes keeping extra food in the house feels emotionally safe. And there's nothing wrong with wanting security. A stocked pantry is not a moral failure. It's not selfish to have enough food for your household. It's responsible. Now, can preparedness slide into unhealthy territory? Absolutely. Anything can. Couponing can. Shopping can. Collecting can. Even being frugal can become obsessive if it starts harming your finances, relationships, or home environment. That's why I think there are a few really simple questions people can ask themselves. Number 1, do I actually use these items? If you're storing foods your family genuinely eats, that's preparation. If you're buying random things just because they were on sale and they expire untouched for years, that might be worth reevaluating. Number 2, can I access and organize what I own? Preparedness should make your life easier. You should know where things are. You should rotate your stock. You should be able to clean your house normally. If your inventory becomes overwhelming chaos, it may be time to simplify. Number 3, am I buying from wisdom or panic? And that's a big one. Fear-based buying usually feels frantic. Wise preparedness feels calm and intentional. It might look like, every grocery trip I buy 2 extra cans. That's sustainable. That's thoughtful. That's very different from emptying your bank account because someone online screamed about the apocalypse at 2 in the morning. I also think preparedness looks different depending on your season of life. A single person in an apartment may only need a few weeks of backup supplies. A family with children, maybe more. Someone who lives in hurricane territory, probably more. Someone with medical needs, definitely more. Preparedness isn't one size fits all. And can we also normalize practical preparedness that isn't dramatic? Because not everything has to look like a bunker in the woods with dehydrated eggs from 1997. Preparedness can simply mean having meals in the pantry when money gets tight, keeping extra toilet paper before flu season, learning how to cook from scratch, knowing how to bake bread, having shelf-stable ingredients so you're not relying on takeout every stressful night. Honestly, basic kitchen skills are one of the most underrated forms of preparedness there is. If you can turn flour, yeast, rice, beans, broth, and simple seasonings into meals, you are already more prepared than a lot of people realize. That's not fear-based living. That's capability. And capability creates confidence. I also think preparedness gives people dignity. There's something deeply comforting about being able to feed your family without panic, to help a neighbor if they need something, to ride out a rough month without feeling like the world is collapsing. Preparedness isn't about fear. It's about reducing fear. And honestly, in today's economy, keeping a stocked pantry can even save money. Buying staples on sale, building meals from what you already have, reducing waste, that's smart household management. That's not hoarding. I think one of the healthiest signs of preparedness is flexibility. Prepared people can share, rotate supplies, adapt, use what they have. Hoarding tends to trap people emotionally. Preparedness supports your life. Hoarding starts controlling your life. So if you're listening to this while staring at your pantry shelves, wondering if you're doing too much because you bought extra pasta or flour, let me reassure you. Keeping practical supplies your household actually uses, especially during uncertain times, is not something to feel ashamed of. There's wisdom in readiness. There's peace in preparation. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting your family to feel safe, fed, and cared for. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if this episode made you feel a little less weird about your pantry shelves, then I'd love for you to share it with a friend who needs to hear it too. Until next time, take care of yourself, feed your people well, and I'll see you soon.